Hello everyone and welcome back to Sama Saturday. So we are here together every weekend, as many of you probably know, at 10 a.m. Pacific time to bring to you Sama Saturday now through multiple channels. So now we are streaming out onto Facebook, we are also into YouTube, building out our channel, and we're so happy to have all of you involved and connected with us. We hope you've had fabulous holidays while you did, and coming back here together with our new intention for 2020 with our Sama Saturdays, which is bringing in a theme every month. So this month's theme for our overall is intention and connection. So the perfect conversation to have in the start of the new year to really lay it out good from here. And when we come into that conversation, to that theme, and Dr. Kangas and I were talking about who we would like to bring on, the number one person we came to is our dear friend, Dr. Barrie Sands. So everyone, so you know this is Dr. Barrie Sands, Dr. Katie Kangas, and not only are these two beautiful beings amazing practitioners and veterinarians, but they also are very soulfully, energetically connected to this work, far beyond the mind and the intellect and everything they learned in veterinary school, which is very full in there. They've got lots of great information. At the same time, this is their dharma, their deepest dharma. And especially when it comes into this conversation about the human-canine bond. So that's what we really wanted to spend today talking about, sharing with you some of what they've learned and experienced in the clinic and beyond, in their own lives, in their own family, and with their own animals. So, you know, I think everybody that's listening to this conversation and anyone who cares to watch the show obviously knows that there's a very deep connection, a very deep unification that happens with our animals, especially our dogs. Cats, of course, are fabulous beings in our lives, and pets as well. But dogs, because they are so, let's just call it humanified, humanized, that they have really taken on a lot of the same emotions and even a lot of the same physical experiences, all through their deep connection with the person, the being that they devote their entire existence to, which is you. And so with that kind of love and adoration and just, you know, worshiping a little bit that goes on from the dog to you, you probably see it in yours all the time. They are just willing to show up however it takes. So they will take on whatever they need to. They will hold a space of whatever they feel is needed at that time. And I think that this whole area of conversation is sometimes not as recognized as, okay, what's actually going on with my dog? What's wrong with its body? What does it need behaviorally? Actually, there's so much influence between us and them. And that's why we wanted to have a whole conversation about it, and especially with our vets who are on the front lines really seeing these experiences happen every single day, all day. So I want to first just do a brief introduction of both of them before we get into it. So Dr. Katie Kangas, as many of you know because she's a regular here every month with us, is a holistic veterinarian for over 25 years. She is the owner of this fabulous location, by the way. This is the Integrative Veterinary Care Office. It's here in Sorrento Valley, so anybody in the area can come and have an appointment here anytime. As you can see, it's a beautiful space, and it smells really good. I was noticing in the bathroom.
Essential oils.
Yes. It does not smell like dogs here. And so Dr. Kangas, through this space, of course, offers a wide array of natural healing methods and practitioners to heal animals all over Southern California and to help heal the humans. It's quite remarkable. And then this beautiful lady is Dr. Barrie Sands. She is an emergency and an integrative veterinarian with VCA Emergency Hospital and Referral Center in San Diego. So she is a unique healer who blends the best of the allopathic and the holistic practices to support animal and human wellness. Dr. Sands has been a veterinarian for over 29 years. She is an emergency and critical care, has been in that field for 24 years, holistic practice for 16 years, doing acupuncture, functional medicine, medicine botany, and energy medicine. And she has been in private practice for 4 years. She is also an author of, get this title, The Stupid Things My Human Does, which is an awesome book. I will definitely make sure that all of you know how to get to that and are able to see it. You can find it on Amazon, I'm assuming. Yeah. So check that out, and you can see that she knows a thing or two about this connection between animals and humans, so that'll be a way to just take this conversation even deeper. So ladies, I'll turn it over to you, and Dr. Kangas, tell us first, what's been your experience and how do you feel about this whole human-canine bond?
Well, I think, Barrie and I have been friends for several years now, and it's really great that she's really moved into the niche that she's going to talk about today as one of her expertises that she's bringing to this, whole field of holistic healing. But I love to share with people that as a holistic practitioner now for more than a decade, a veterinarian for 25 years, but really focusing on holistic and preventative animal health for the last 10 and more years, is that I've really had this growing awareness as I develop relationships with my patients and my clients, that I'm seeing and becoming more aware of the link between the animal's health and emotional well-being as to what's actually happening with the human family and the pet parents. And so with this increasing awareness, it's actually amazing how many people will open up to me, because I spend a lot more time with my clients than the average veterinarian. As a holistic veterinarian, my sessions with my clients may be 45 to 60 minutes or more, because really to get to true healing for our animal, for our pets, we need to spend some time, getting into, what's going on with not only the health, but the entire, emotional picture and well-being and lifestyle and all that. And so because I spend more time with my clients, really getting to the root of what's going on, I have a lot of people, fortunately, that open up to me and start explaining, I think that some of the stuff going on with my pet is maybe because of all the stressors going on in my life. And it really actually makes me happy that people are starting to have this awareness. Yeah. It's becoming much more common for people to have that perception, which I think is wonderful. And I love when people bring up the topic to me so that I can help expand on that for them. And I feel like...
And understand the animal a little bit better.
Exactly, and understand the entire situation better. And I feel like it's made me a better practitioner to be of more of an asset to them and help the whole healing path of not only the pet, but the entire family with this growing awareness. And so, we can talk a little bit more about specifics as we go along, but certainly I see a lot of emotional and health conditions of pets that very much mimic what's going on for the human family members in that scenario. So I know that's one of the things that Dr. Barrie is working a lot with her HeartMath, and we'll get into that. So great.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And so let's hear it, Dr. Barrie. You have a lot to say on the topic. The first question just being, what is your feeling about the human-canine bond?
Well, being an emergency critical care veterinarian for the last 26 years has really given me the gift of understanding the deep human-animal relationship that actually manifests itself in disease. And in that realm of emergency medicine, people are at their rawest moments because their animals are in crisis. And at that point in time, the human is forced to be in their heart space, and they show up in various ways in how to handle that. And so a lot of them will come in a state of panic, fear, sadness, frustration, anxiety, because they're faced with the moment that their animals may be, where their lives may be at a loss. And what has occurred to me over the course of the years of working with animals, originally we all became veterinarians, or most people became veterinarians because they love animals and they don't like people. And that was my reasoning, because I wanted to save all the animals in the world. That was my goal, and be able to help every species on the planet except for humans, because they were too busy hurting each other and I didn't want any part of that. So. But what I realized is that it is imperative to help the human in order to help the animal. And so the degree of suffering that I noticed in people in these emergency situations, knowing that they love their pets more than they love themselves, and that a lot of their own personal emotional signatures, I don't want to say problems because it's not a problem, it's just the way you show up in life as your emotional signature is brought into the realm of the dog that loves them so much. And I thought that, wow, if I could just approach a human and say, if you could fix yourself or heal yourself knowing that it would impact your dog, would you make that decision? And a lot of people I feel would do that. And so that led me on the path to seeing, well, how can I help humans? You know, and that brought me to becoming a certified trainer for the HeartMath Institute to teach people how to manage their stress, self-regulate, become more coherent, and send that energy out to their pets in an essence of healing them as well.
So tell us more about what is HeartMath?
So the HeartMath Institute is a facility who has been around since 1991 that has devoted its existence to scientific, validated research on the nature of the heart and the intuition and the innate intelligence that we have and how it's relevant to the mind, body, and spirit and all the emotions.
Do they normally talk about this science in the application of animals?
They talk about it in the application of how each of our bodies creates an electromagnetic field. And based upon that electromagnetic field, we are individually relevant to each other on a social level and also globally in a more sort of spooky entanglement, sort of quantum way. And that would be a great topic for another.
That's part two. Stay tuned, because that's when it gets really good.
Simply said, everything's energy, and we're all connected energetically.
Yeah.
And humans are connected, but we are connected with all beings, and animals included.
Right.
And so, again, it's this growing awareness, not only that I've seen specifically with my clients, but as Barrie mentioned, globally. It is really a growing awareness that people are starting to realize we are connected because everything is energy. And as we learn more, as modern science learns more about, you know, quantum physics and quantum energy, it's all explained scientifically very well. But it's something you can feel too.
Right, and the HeartMath Institute being so beautifully minded in the research department to help bridge that gap between science and mysticism, because indigenous cultures have been talking about the heart as the intuitive center, the center for wisdom and knowing and innate healing for thousands of years. And now the research is showing that, yes, it's true. We have an electromagnetic frequency that's actually, the heart has an electromagnetic frequency that has been measured at least 12 feet out.
Wow, really?
Maybe more when we get the technology to measure it.
I've heard that dogs specifically have an even wider one than humans do. Now, I don't know how they've studied it.
I don't know. I can't imagine that they do, because they are all heart, right? Their energies come from their heart, and so that's why they are so emotionally bonded to us, and that creates a very a biological relevancy in the connection that we have with our pets. And the HeartMath doesn't essentially do a lot of research on animals per se, but they have done studies where they have hooked up Holter monitors, which measures heart rates and heart rate variabilities, and through complex algorithms that they have extrapolated based on blood pressure and heart rate and EEGs, electroencephalograms, electrocardiograms, they have shown that the patterns that our hearts emit are based upon our emotions and our thoughts. And that sends out the signature that becomes biologically relevant in the animals or the people that are invested in us.
And I love how Dr. Barrie said that indigenous cultures knew that, you know, true wisdom really was heart-based. And just a fun tidbit to share with everyone is in traditional Chinese medicine, and of course Dr. Barrie and I both do acupuncture with animals, that the heart is known to house what we call the shen, or the mind. Mm-hmm. And that is something that is very integral to Chinese medicine patterns and things like that. And so that rings true with Chinese medicine philosophy as well. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty neat. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The heart
so really
houses the mind.
Yeah, we're really finding that emotions and even maybe our decision making and things that kind of come behind the thoughts almost, that come from the heart and the gut. This innate wisdom that is within the body and not just in our head and our brain as we think it is.
Yeah, well, the fun thing about that heart-gut thing, or the mind-gut thing too, is, the whole new physical science of the microbiome and like the, brain-gut axis and all that. So it's kind of fun to think that it energetically is all...
We're all connected.
Of all parts of our bodies and outside of our bodies.
Yeah. And so there's some of the studies most of the studies from the HeartMath Institute have shown that when you align your body in a state of what's called a heart-brain coherence, because since 1991, there's been an emergence of a new study called neurocardiology, which has shown that the heart actually is a sensory organ that can take information and encode it and process it, and is also an organ that has neurons that are in the heart. And because of that, the significance and the sophistication of these arrangements of the neurons that are in the heart, they've termed it the little heart brain. And the heart actually knows more than you know before your brain does. And they have done studies on that as well, and that's the intuition.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I wonder if that's what taps us into our deeper intuition.
Yeah.
And our ancestry and our karma.
Yeah, yeah. And when you can align your physiology, because we're not all heart, right? We're heart, we're brain, we're autonomic nervous system, we have all our other organs and our blood pressure. And when you align the heart and the brain, your body goes into an autonomic synchronization. So that leads you to a state of what they call coherence, where you have optimum synchronicity with your autonomic nervous system, your hormones, your immune system, and all the physiology, where you become in a state of optimum wellness, where you have ability to have your higher thinking centers online, where you have higher performance, clarity, ability to discern, to self-regulate. And so when you're in that state, you don't react, but you tend to respond.
It's perfect.
Yeah, and then...
much more grounded.
Very grounded. And your animals will know that. And they will detect that, and they will want to be around you.
And a lot of people know, if some of our viewers, for anyone who meditates or you just come into a calm space, most of us know that your animals definitely will gravitate to you, and you can tell they not only can identify that, but they enjoy it.
Very much so. I've noticed that when I started practicing HeartMath tools and techniques of going into coherence, and I have become more proficient at it, where it's more of a walking being, state of being. I try to keep that. That random animals will stare at me.
They feel it.
They feel it, and they look at me like they're seeing something. I don't know what they're seeing, but they see something, and it's been an interesting phenomenon.
My question for you, when you were talking about the synchronization, that process, is there a specific technique that brings you to it? Is that what HeartMath guides you on?
Yeah, there's a variety of techniques, and it's not really unlike a lot of other techniques, where it starts off with what they call heart-focused breathing, which is just taking your attention.
Let's do it. Guide us.
Yeah.
Will you just a couple moments?
Sure. Yeah. So let's take a minute and take your attention into the center of your chest, where your heart is, and start to breathe a little slower and deeper than you normally would. Suggested 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. And as you do this just for a minute, and focusing on the breath, flowing in and out of your heart space, what this heart-focused breathing does physiologically is that it acts like a dampening mechanism to dial down the stress. And then from that space that you're in with this heart-focused breathing, to add a feeling, an emotion of care, appreciation, love, compassion for someone or something. And as you put in that feeling of appreciation or care, what that's doing physiologically is bringing up those higher frequency emotions of care and appreciation and gratitude. So when you put in that feeling of care, appreciation, and really try to feel that, what you're doing in your body is you're allowing those higher frequencies to come into play, which creates a more smooth heart rhythm pattern. And by doing that, your brain and your autonomic nervous system starts to become in synchronicity with itself, and you project out into the electromagnetic field around you a more harmonious and synchronous vibration that is then felt by the people around you and your dogs and cats and then the world, into the field, into that quantum field. So, you know, I like to think when I'm going into coherence or going through my day is, what am I going to be feeding the field today?
And the neat thing is, I was going to mention, as the three of us were doing that together collectively, you could feel that.
I could feel that.
I definitely, absolutely. Like, I just got the chills.
It was warm.
Yeah,
chills.
I
got like a warm hug. Like
I got the chills re-saying it, recounting it, because, you know, it just brings so much, you know, emotion and clarity as you realize it. But you could feel the energy become so calm.
And here it is.
And so connected. And here comes Sage to say, yes, I love it. Look, she's
Up
stretching.
dog,
She's
down
like,
dog.
ah. Yeah.
She knows it.
So, yes. So we could actually sense that here together. So it's really fun getting that perception that not only can we feel it, but obviously animals being even more tapped in typically with connection and energy, they certainly feel it. So,
did you guys feel that at home too? I'm curious to know if your animals maybe could perceive it as well. Very cool. So, Dr. Sands, you've shared a little bit with us about what research has shown in this field, but I find it very interesting that the scientists are even willing to delve into this. That shows you how important and how obvious it's become. So what else is science showing? What studies have been done?
The HeartMath has a website, heartmath.org, and they have over 300 journals and papers and studies that have been written. They've done studies with first responders, law enforcement, the military. They've done studies with teachers, people with PTSD. They have done studies with children, people that have ADHD, you know, attention deficit disorders, and basically it seems like these techniques are relevant to anyone who is a human, because we all deal with stress in so many ways.
Yeah, so just the awareness of where you are energetically and mentally is, you know, all this connection that we're talking about. So one of the comments that I was thinking when, Amanda, when you asked about the research is, recently, actually for the first time that I'm aware of, in a veterinary medical journal, there was an article published sometime last year, probably 6 months ago, that actually the title line of the article was, anxiety was found to be contagious from people to their dogs. Is anxiety from, you know, pet owners contagious to their dogs. So this was what the article's on. So this was actually in a veterinary journal, which is pretty remarkable. So this is getting a lot more recognition and a lot more awareness.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot more studies, more scientific studies on the relationship between the animals and the humans, because asking a poll of 100 veterinarians, have you ever noticed that your dog has the same or similar disease as you? The answer is going to be yes, that it's a phenomenon that we see. And
very commonly, would you say, like every day?
You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I would say probably more often than we're aware of, because we're not always asking the question.
Yeah.
And I would say for myself and my practice, because of what I do, and of course Dr. Barrie does a lot of, you know, ER and more emergency work, and she certainly does holistic as well, but I'm 100% of the time, you know, doing my holistic practice, and I definitely see on a daily basis, multiple times a day, where people will share with me that what's going on with their pet is also going on for them. So, and I see that time and again, and you know, there's numerous things, but definitely, you know, oftentimes, because digestion, you know, of course I talk a lot about nutrition in my practice, and one of the things I say is, you know, all disease starts in the gut, and so no matter what the pet is seeing me for, we always get into digestion and nutrition and those sorts of things. And so I ask a lot of questions about gut function and things like that. So that's a central topic that I always go over with my clients. And so as we unveil kind of what's going on with the pet, so often people say, yes, my pet has, you know, signs of gastric reflux. Oh, by the way, so do I. Oh, by the way, you know, I am going through a lot of stressors lately, and I think that's exacerbating things for me, and I think it's exacerbating things for my dog. And so it's really, and unlike a lot of veterinarians who maybe, you know, really are excited to be a vet to help animals, the fun thing for me is I'm one of the maybe odd numbers of veterinarians who I love people just as much as animals. And one of the reasons I love doing holistic is because I get to affect everybody.
Truly
and
integrative.
Truly integrative. And one of the most rewarding things that I get to hear all the time from my clients is, gosh, I'm getting healthier because I met you for my pet. And so the fun thing for me is, as we kind of investigate and decipher the health conditions that are going on for my pet patients, I also get to help my human clients get that awareness for themselves and give them solutions that work both for animals and people, and they get healthier in the process, and then everyone benefits. So that's a really fun thing for me.
Absolutely.
And this topic is so keyed into how I feel like I'm starting to tailor my focus as a practitioner is including a lot more of this energetic connection than it ever has before. And I feel like that's really raising me up to a new level of being better assistants to my animal patients and my human clients.
Yeah, because it's you can heal a pet and a human through medicines and substances and nutrition and lots of other modalities, but if you don't address that energetic piece, then you're never going to get that complete overall wellness. You know, and I know that's a truth, and I think as time goes on and we start delving into more energetic type of healing modalities, we're going to find that to be very true and relevant, because in the ER and my holistic practice, people love to share about themselves and what they're going through. And I had a dog, one example was a little dog who had what's called immune-mediated thrombocytopenia, which is the immune system is attacking your platelets. And the interesting thing is, it's not a very common disease, like maybe heart disease or diabetes. It's a little bit more specific. And during one of the visits with the owner and her dog, she just randomly asked me, and she said, do you think I gave my dog this condition? And I said, I said, well, you happen to be asking the right person.
Lucky them.
And I said, why do you ask me? And she said, well, because I have immune-mediated thrombocytopenia.
Whoa.
And I said, well, you know, I do think that that's a possibility, and very, very specific things that we see. I had another client who brought his an elderly dog in for seizures, first time seizuring, and to do a regular routine screening, a medical allopathic workup of getting x-rays and baseline blood work, and we did an abdominal ultrasound on the dog looking for external causes of seizures. Interestingly enough, the blood work and the x-rays was normal, and I was speaking to the owner after we got the ultrasound, and I said, well, we didn't find anything on the blood work or the x-rays. They looked normal, but however, we did find something on the ultrasound. And he said, disclosed at that moment before I told him the results, he said, well, I just had a tumor removed from my right kidney a few weeks ago. And I said, wow, that's really interesting, because the only thing we found was a tumor on your dog's right kidney.
Whoa. Wow. Gosh,
and that wasn't the cause of his seizures,
yeah,
but as an incidental finding,
wow,
very interesting. And that just led me to this whole, you know, there's something to this, and how can we find this, and how can we show this?
And something that just came to me that I feel that I want to share with our audience is that as you're watching this, and as you're kind of, you know, taking in all this information, and this is a lot of intense information, what I would love to share with people is don't feel any guilt if your pet is ill. Please do not feel any guilt with that, like, oh my gosh, I gave my pet this disease. What I would really love, what we would really love everyone to get out of this session as we, you know, process through all this together, is that if I can tap into what I can do to heal myself and to take, you know, better care of myself, and to, you know, learn and be aware of the energetics that are affecting my health condition and how I can mitigate that to my best, then you simultaneously get to help your pet heal. And what a beautiful realization. It gives you more power.
Yes.
It gives you so much more empowerment to realize that you have so much say and play into what's going on with not only your pet, but yourself and other people that you touch in your family and beyond. So what a beautiful realization for us all to come to together.
Yeah, and I'd like to add, if I may, that because this is a very special year that we're entering, the 2020, you know, a new decade, and the energetics of the 2020, as if any of you out there follow numerology, this year is in a study of what they call gematria, which is a study of numbers to its singularities. So at 2020, not counting the zeros, is 22. And normally you might want to add 2 and 2 is 4, but because 22 is actually considered a master number, we don't break that down. And the master number 22, what that signifies is balance and duality. And not in duality where, in a sense, where it's right or wrong or black or white, but it's a duality of where energetically now, of what we know with healing, that we can come from choices from a place of discernment. Do I want this or do I want that? Do I want to go into wellness or do I not want to go into wellness? Do I want to have a chocolate cake or do I want to have a salad? You know, and who's talking to me and what are they saying? And how it's going to benefit myself. So a place where you're out of judgment, to become emotionally more grounded and have self-mastery around who you are, so that you can show up better for your loved ones, which is your dogs and your family and sometimes your cats, but they're a little bit
And I love how you said earlier, just felt like this tied into that. Something you said that really struck me is that when you get into this heart space and you do connect better, that you can respond more than react. And what a beautiful space to be in.
That's the truth of mindfulness, of conscious living, of expansion and evolution of your own self, is to notice when you do respond versus react. And your animals will certainly pick up on that as well. You know, right there, grading you, or at least interpreting you of where your stress levels are.
Yeah. And I think you probably all know, because you've been listening to these beautiful women speak a long time, that these dogs are these sentients of emotional beings that are here to be of service for people and to be part of our lives. And they want to share, and they want to take it on, and they want to give it back. And so, like Dr. Kangas was saying, don't feel bad.
Yeah, they're our teachers.
They are our
coming
teachers.
to our lives to teach us so many different things, and if they can be the messenger of you becoming, as Dr. Kangas said, more aligned, more energetic, more in tune, more healthy and whole yourself, and your dog brought that into your life, my gosh, it makes me misty thinking about it, because it's like that they showed up and got to live their dharma and share their purpose and give it to you. To them, that's their greatest gift. So that's why we should never feel bad, feel guilt, because we're in the co-creation. We are both living out our karma and our dharma, and we're doing that together in friendship. And so the more we honor them, they will honor us, and there's no resentment or anger or anything to worry about in all of that. We certainly don't pick that energy up from them.
I don't know if you can see Sarah the camera, but she's laying peacefully on the floor there.
They're totally fine with it.
And might this be a good time to just,
perfect.
I did want to show our audience that Dr. Barrie Sands is writing now for Dogs Naturally, as do both Amanda and I. And this month's edition, the January-February of 2020, perfect. Dr. Sands indeed has an article, just going to show it right here, Fight or Flight, or is there another way? So for any of you who already get the Dogs Naturally subscription, I would encourage you to look for Dr. Barrie's article in this edition. And if you don't already get it, I would encourage you to get the Dogs Naturally, either digitally online or on paper, because they are a great learning tool and resource that I love to, and in fact I share them with my clients here, that's why it's here, and I have an article in this edition too, but Dr. Barrie's article is all about what we're talking about today, which is fantastic.
And it's the first of a series.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So that shows right there, even Dogs Naturally, of course, because they're Dogs Naturally, but they're open to all of this, that they're starting to want to share that more with the world, feature it more, speak to more voices on the subject.
Yeah,
so
there was a beautiful quote that I came into, and I think it was from one of our mutual friends. It's like, heal the world one dog at a time. And I thought that was just, it was beautiful, because it's true. We heal collectively, and as we start to heal ourselves, it is just a natural state of being where we will start to heal each other. And when we heal each other socially, then we will start to heal each other globally. And we affect individually the world more than we know. And there's, on the HeartMath.org website, they have what's called the Global Initiation Project, where they have centers all over the world that are measuring the emotional content of people and how it's affecting the electromagnetic sphere of the planet. And we are relevant. So, if the three of us are sitting here with Sage in this beautiful space and putting out our heart-centered feelings and emotions of love and care and compassion, and it is being felt in other places.
Absolutely, and hopefully by all of you.
I think that's a perfect place to wrap this up. Thank you both so much for your time, for your love, for your service, for your dedication, for being willing to help the animals, but also from such a deep place in your soul, because it's not easy. I have to say that I've spoken to a couple of veterinarians that will go unnamed, but when I ask, do you talk with the client themselves, with the human, about what's going on with them or how they might be affecting the dog? Many times I've heard, no, that's none of my business. And it was heartbreaking, because I thought, well, that has a lot of potential in it though. And so for the two of you to be leading the way and joining with others that are of this mindset is going to deepen the healing potential of animals all around the world. And that's a really noble service.
Thank you so much, Amanda,
Yes.
for having me, and
Yes.
Katie, thank you so much. I enjoyed being here and look forward to more.
Yep, we're coming back with you. So you guys be ready. We're going to definitely do another one all together, deepen into this conversation even more. Thank you all for watching, for listening. Please share your comments, your feedback. We'd love to hear your stories too. I bet you, I'm sure, some of you have very specific shared experiences with your canine companions. So let us hear what those are, and we'll help inspire one another. Lots of love, and we'll see you next time. Namaste.